I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a virtual drive. ...2021 Audi RS6 Avant.
So with everything going on in the world right now, we obviously can't drive it, but we will be driving it later this year.
So let's start off with the horsepower and torque.
591 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque from a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 with a 48-volt mild hybrid system made it to an 8-speed auto.
So this is the first Audi RS6 in North America.
Yeah, and it's also the first RS wagon of any kind in North America.
And in our previous AMG E63S video, everyone complained when we said that the AMG E63S was the best wagon. They kept bringing up the RS6, but that didn't exist here until now.
And before we keep going, we're going to be comparing this a lot to the E63S wagon. Which we proclaimed was the best all-around car in the world.
This is the best car in the world.
And a lot of you guys agreed with us as well. That also brings us to today's partnership with Omaze, and they're giving you a chance to win a 2020 Mercedes-AMG E63S Wagon plus $20,000 in the trunk.
The best part is every donation supports the work of the International Medical Corps, which is a global first responder that delivers emergency medical and related services to those affected by conflict, disaster, and disease. They're currently putting a ton of their efforts towards fighting this worldwide pandemic by supplying training, deploying medical supplies, equipment, and more.
I want to thank the International Medical Corps for really stepping up and helping us. I was amazed at not only a willingness to help us in this area, but in other areas with significant amounts of equipment.
It's pretty much the most important cause any of us could be supporting right now. So head over to omaze.com/TheStraightPipes for your chance to win a 2020 Mercedes-AMG E63S Wagon with $20,000 in the trunk and help support the International Medical Corps, which is battling this worldwide pandemic.
And we'll also be showing the E63S a lot throughout the rest of this video, so if you decide you need one of those by the end, we'll share the link again.
So back to this RS6, it obviously has launch control and it can do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.6 seconds, which is in the realm of the E63S Wagon, obviously.
I'm actually pretty glad that they made them such tight competitors. I'm sure they were always tight competitors in Germany, but now they're tight competitors for us too.
Yeah, and it obviously has the legendary Quattro all-wheel drive. We'll get into more of the performance stuff later, but let's focus on the looks now.
Okay, do you love it or do you hate it?
I absolutely love everything about it except one thing.
So starting with the overall looks, there are 3 different trims we can get it in. The regular trim, carbon black trim, and the Vorsprung trim.
And those trim names are probably going to be called something different once this is in North America, so that's based off the UK configurator.
So it seems like the carbon black will give you a little bit more black accents, and then the Vorsprung will get you more black accents, plus the sport exhaust and the black roof, which is also a sunroof.
I feel like you're going to get killed in the comments for the way you're pronouncing that one word, which I'm not even going to attempt.
Vorsprung!
That's probably a little bit better.
Nailed it. So obviously I think the best looking one is the top trim that is fully blacked out.
Yeah, that's the best trim for sure. But let's start talking about the front bumper specifically because it's so aggressive.
Yeah, it's like as wide as it could be, as tall as it could be. It just looks like it fills up the whole road.
And Audi said that it has a lot of R8 influence, and it really does, including the fake vents.
Yeah, I do see that. I mean, it does look good from a distance. I haven't gotten up close, so for now, I'm okay with it.
I didn't really mind it on the R8, but you did, so I like it here.
Yeah, well, this isn't an R8. This is just a wagon.
Yeah, but don't say just a wagon. That's the best part of this.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, headlights. Do you like the headlights?
I do, because they're that new Audi style, but like you said in a previous Audi review of ours, I think the old style just looked a little bit better, but these are way more aggressive this way.
So I think these are more like the A7 than they are like the S8 that we drove. And I really like the A7, so I'm very stoked on this new design style.
And there are 2 different light choices available, one of them being LED and the other being laser.
Then below the lights, we've got these really cool sideways triangle grills with either a body colored inlet or a blacked out inlet.
I think the whole front end blacked out looks the best, like by far.
For me, there's like 3 different versions out in the press material, and I think every version looks good in its own way. Like, I'm so conflicted on which version I would actually take.
Yeah, there's not a bad way to spec this car at all.
And then also with the front end, I do think the shape of the grille is absolutely perfect. Like, there's nothing I could change. And then below that, we've got a little trim that's either blacked out or white. And I kind of like the way it looks white.
And if we look up a little higher at the hood, we've got a power dome hood. Yep, just like a Jeep.
Yeah, you don't get that in the regular A6 or S6.
Yeah, I just found it funny that they called it a power dome because that's what Jeep calls theirs.
And then if you get the blacked out version, you'll also get a blacked out Audi logo, which I think is pretty cool too.
And looking at the side profile, yeah, it's obviously a wagon, and man, this thing looks incredible. Can I just start off with the wheels because they are insanely good looking?
Yes, they're 22s, but the thing is, if you don't get the blackout package, you're not going to get the dark parts on the wheels. They'll just be all light.
And on the base trim, you do get 21s, and depending on where you are in the world, there are also different versions of those 21s, but those 22s are amazing.
I'm actually kind of excited for people to start throwing these on their Golf Rs.
Yeah, just like they do with Bentley wheels and everything.
And then if we look at the overall shape, it's got really nice hard lines, much harder than I think anything Mercedes is putting out. And the silhouette of the wagon, I think it's perfect. Like, there's nothing you can really improve on, can you?
No, you really can't. Like, this thing looks so aggressive from every angle. Like, it looks like a wagon from the side, but it's just such an aggressive looking wagon.
But also future and classy. Like, it doesn't look cheese at all.
It definitely doesn't look cheese, but I wouldn't call it classy. I think an E63S is way classier than this.
See, that's where I totally disagree with you. I think the E63S looks like such a goon mobile compared to this.
And you can also get carbon ceramic brakes behind those amazing wheels, and I honestly wouldn't get those just because the price is probably going to be astronomical. And sticking with the side, if we look at the fenders, they're so much wider than a regular A6.
Yeah, it's like 4 centimeters or something, but it doesn't look obviously wide body. It just looks overall thick.
Yeah, they didn't bolt any flares to it, they just widened out all the sheet metal. And in fact, the only exterior parts that are shared with the A6 wagon are the front doors, the roof, and the tailgate.
So now onto the back end. We've got really cool taillights that are also sequential like everything else Audi.
Yeah, and just like all Audi models, we're not going to get the exact same sequential taillights like they do in Europe. Ours are going to be slightly different.
And then there's one part of the back end that you really don't like, and what is that?
Well, it's actually the diffuser, especially when it's in silver. I'm okay with it when it's in black.
So for me, I like the diffuser in silver when you've got like the dark gray exterior, but then I also like it when it's blacked out, like when we have it in the red. I think it just looks amazing in both types.
I just think it looks a little bit weird. It doesn't really fit with the rest of the design. But let's talk about these RS oval exhaust tips.
Yes, they're oval, and there's 2 of them, dual exhaust like every other Audi RS model.
But let's take a listen to the press footage and hear what this thing sounds like. Based on that footage, I personally don't think it sounds as good as the E63S Wagon. I just love that Mercedes sound.
Yeah, I think Mercedes usually sound better in the car. From outside the car, they're kind of even, but it really depends. You got to tell on the day when you hear them both back to back.
Well, I'm 100% Mercedes inside and out.
So overall, looks-wise, do you like the looks of the RS6?
I think it's an absolutely stunning design. It's so aggressive. I like everything about the actual design more than the E63S Wagon.
Okay, and for me, I really like them both. I think the RS6 looks better right now because it's new, but I think if you compare it in a couple years to the 2020 AMG E63S, they'll still be about even. AMG might look a bit better.
But the E63S Wagon will get an update when the E-Class gets its update, and that is being refreshed right now. So we'll probably see a new wagon in about a year or two.
Yeah, the new one's gonna have the new Panamera grille, and it's gonna have the newer style Mercedes headlights that aren't as individual as everything is in the last couple years.
Yeah, personally, I just don't like the new Mercedes design style.
But lucky for you guys, if you want a chance to win an AMG E63S Wagon, it is a 2020 on Omaze.com/TheStraightPipes. So you've got a chance to win the cooler looking version.
So now let's move on to this interior, and I'd like to start with the gauges.
Yeah, they're the same gauges that we had in the new S8 that we drove.
Yeah, I really like the old circular RS graphics. I'm not a huge fan of these kind of like squared off shapely ones.
But lucky for everyone, you can still have a circle for your tack and a circle for your speed instead of having that cool hockey stick line in the middle. But what's cool is that we still have shift lights just like every other Audi, and these ones get nice cool colors like yellow, green, and red before it's time to shift.
And if we move away from the gauges to the steering wheel, we now have aluminum paddles. So all of our complaints over the years have finally been addressed.
Yes, but are they really aluminum or are they just plastic colored in chrome?
No, they're aluminum. It says aluminum.
All right, that's good.
And the other thing that they added to the steering wheel is an RS drive mode button, so you can customize that between RS1 and RS2.
Still not as cool as how the BMW M5 has those red buttons where your thumbs are for M1 and M2.
And it is Alcantara, and if we look at the rest of the interior, there's also a bunch of Alcantara, including on the shifter.
Yeah, nice if it's your car, probably pretty gross if it's somebody else's.
Pretty much exactly what I was thinking, and then we do have the same two screens that we've had on every other new Audi, and I absolutely love how they function on every new Audi. So we do have Android Auto, we do have Apple CarPlay.
Yes, and we do have wireless Apple CarPlay, which was a lot of fun in the last one, but it did glitch out a few times. And to me, it pretty much looks exactly like the A7 infotainment we had, so we're gonna have rewinding satellite radios, but no tune mix. I feel like it's going to be solid, but I would still rather take that sweet spot AMG E63S interior and infotainment with the rotary knob, which they're getting rid of for the 2021 year.
Yeah, and I actually prefer this Audi system. I was just so relaxed using it. I like the look of the AMG system, but this is just so much better for me to use. And if we look at the seats, we've got some RS Sport bucket seats, and they look incredible.
But there's really only 3 color options: beige, black, and another type of black, which is at least what I found on the UK website.
Yeah, and between all those color options, I don't like that tan one. I think it's like a little bit too tan. I actually like the black.
But in the press footage, they had the tan interior on the dark gray with the light trim around it, and I think that looked spectacular. So the A7 passed the visor test. I assume this is also going to pass the visor test because of that.
Do you think it will be as good as the RS5 visor test?
3, 2, 1. Yes! Oh!
I'm gonna pull over and find that. Nothing will be as good as the RS5 visor test.
And we do have ambient lighting on the interior, and it looks like it has a lot of options, just like on the A7 that we drove.
Yeah, there's a ton of colors you can choose from, but at the end of the day, all the lights in the Mercedes E63S Wagon were so much better. The way it's swooped, you get your red moon, you can go through rainbows and stuff. I mean, that's a full win for the AMG Wagon.
Okay, if we're talking ambient lighting, 100% Mercedes.
Oh yeah, no question. And since it's a wagon, we do have a kick to open and power lift gate. And then we also have 1,680 liters of trunk space. So we should probably do the hypothetical box.
If you want your own name on a box, go to patreon.com/TheStraightPipes. So now let's get to some driving without actually driving it. We have driven the E63S Wagon, so we do know how that launches. And this also has launch control, but I think we're gonna prefer the E63S Wagon on that launch.
Launch it. Send it.
Oh my,
Send it!
oh! Yeah, the wagon launch was amazing, but the closest we can come to showing you what an RS6 launch might look like is this Audi RS5 launch. Floor it and sport, build boost.
Send.
Oh my, did it lift there?
I'm pretty sure it did. Holy sh!
And that launch pretty much scared the bejesus out of me, so I think both choices are going to be great.
And earlier I mentioned that it had Quattro all-wheel drive, so it can actually vary the power distribution by up to 85% to the rear or 70% of the torque to the front, but normally it's 40% to the front and 60% to the rear.
And unlike the AMG E63S Wagon, which can totally disconnect the front, go into drift mode and have all the power to the back, this cannot do that.
Yeah, I don't think Audi is that kind of company, so they're definitely missing out on drift mode, and that's why I love the E63S Wagon so much.
Points, E63S.
And now about the suspension. So we do have two choices of suspension. Air suspension being standard, and you can get optional stiffer RS suspension, which is coil springs. I think I would personally go with the air suspension just because you can get that lower stance.
And then when you're driving it, it does have cruise control, it does have lane keep, but I remember in the A7, it wasn't as good as we thought everything else was, but it was pretty good. There was no like highway driving assist for like traffic jams. Then we also have a coast mode thanks to the hybridness of it, and it has cylinder deactivation. So even though this is super high horsepower, you can still probably get good gas mileage sometimes.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it good, but you can also get optional rear wheel steering, which will help you steer all the time. Low speeds, high speeds, everything.
And like the A7, it's going to have a 360 camera, so I assume we're going to have an awesome 360 mode where we can spin it all the way around. But unlike the Mercedes-Benz, which has a track pace app built in on AMG models, I don't see anything about that, but there are a few different pages where you can see the stats of your car, see if anything is overheating.
So with all that out of the way, do we have anything for the Marketing Be Marketing segment where we take jabs at manufacturers' press footage?
Yeah, so there's pretty much one commercial for it, and they speed up a lot of the footage, which I don't think they have to because it's a fast car. but lucky for you, I slowed down the footage and stabilized some of it to show you what it actually looks like. To be honest, I think all manufacturers, all marketing companies stop speeding up footage and stop adding extra shake.
That looks a lot more boring when you make it normal.
Yeah, I mean, shifting at 79 kilometers an hour isn't really that exciting overall.
So with everything out of the way, let's talk about the price. I don't actually have it, but I looked at the European website, so in euros, it's pretty much the exact same price as the E63S Wagon, which is exactly what we expected. So they're both right around 120,000 euros.
So I guess moment of truth. E63S Wagon or RS6, which one would you take?
I like just about everything more with the design, the overall look, the wheels on the RS6. However, I would still actually take the E63S Wagon because of that engine sound.
To me, the AMG E63S Wagon was my first love of a wagon, and I think it's gonna stay that way, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with the RS6, besides not being able to disconnect the front wheels and do donuts.
I'm really looking forward to driving the RS6. Maybe I'll change my mind.
So no matter what side you're on, as long as you love fast wagons, definitely check out omaze.com/TheStraightPipes for your chance to win your own 2020 Mercedes-AMG E63S Wagon with $20,000 in the trunk.
And most importantly, every donation helps support the great work of the International Medical Corps in the worldwide fight against this pandemic.